Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond, in London, England, as well as Paris, France, and of course you good old boys from Canada. You know we love you in Canada. We love you in Africa, the Big C tribe. But Big C, there's no one we love more than you good old boys down south, in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys? April 13th, 2018, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, I'm trying to go through my Google Translator right now and trying to find out what Benvenidos mean.
It means welcome.
Yeah, beginning of a minute. So, but you get on with the show while I'm looking and stuff.
It means welcome, Big Z. I learned that a long time ago when I went down to this Mexican restaurant. They kept Benvenidos. And to me, I'm kind of sensitive with our young and black kid growing up sensitive. You know, I thought he was saying Negro, welcome Negro. But I Googled what Bienvenidos. Instead of getting mad at the man, I apologized for my ignorance and went back and bought some nice humble pie, Big Z. Your thoughts?
Well, and that's what I was trying to do. I didn't want to be the only one on the show not knowing what was being said. So
yeah.
That's why I was sitting here searching,
Yeah.
It takes a little while for this DSL to dial up. It's not quick like you guys had that Wi-Fi and all that.
Yeah, I tell you, it's all fair in love and war, and I love what's going on. We have, in the world of sports, we have the NHL, which is hitting the puck all over the place, and you look at teams like Nashville and San Jose having a good start. Also, the NBA, I'm so excited about what's happening in the world of the NBA. They say the playoffs actually start this weekend, but actually the playoffs started about a month ago for a lot of teams that were jockeying for position and seeing who was going to play who. We know baseball, the girls dig the long ball, Big C, so they say, but also who digs the long ball is my friend POTUS. He's actually your friend, and I don't believe in abandoning your friends just because they're knuckleheads or do something stupid, Big C, but I just want to know, friends don't let friends drive drunk, right? You also don't let friends go to vote when they're drunk too, Big C. Your thought? Why'd you vote for POTUS, Big C?
Well, sometimes, when you can't see straight, you just push it. And you don't know which button you hit, to happen somebody inform you. You know you pushed the wrong button, don't you?
Yeah.
But you can't go back and retract it. I look at your friend Donald, and I'm amazed by this guy every day, but I'm not amazed either.
Yeah.
Whatever he does on a daily basis, it's almost kind of expected now. There's no more shock in whatever he does or says.
Yeah.
You think about a man in his position spends more time bullying and trying to belittle people.
Yeah.
Think about it. He had his wife out on a campaign a couple of weeks ago talking about no bullying.
Yeah.
But yet he comes out daily bullying. There's serious issues going on in America and on the world stage.
Yeah.
And here he is. He's trying to bully Comey. He's trying to bully the FBI and the Justice Department.
Yeah.
He had his attorneys in court today trying to block evidence of Michael Cohen to not allow it to be seen by law enforcement agencies.
Wow. Wow.
These are the people that, secure our country.
Yeah.
And they got all these warrants legally.
Yeah.
And he's going to a court that issued the warrants legally, trying to say that they were illegal. Now, if he has nothing to hide, and he's an honest individual, as his people keep telling everybody, why is he trying to block a court order?
Yeah.
And that's what the search warrant was, Charlton.
Yeah.
It didn't come from Comey.
Yeah.
It didn't come from Mueller. It came from other people, Charlton.
Yeah.
And several layers of people had to sign off on it.
Yeah.
And I can say by Monday or Tuesday, he'll probably fire Rod Rosenstein.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what he's going to do. And what he's doing now is out of anger. It's like he went and pardoned a gentleman today.
Scooter Libby.
Scooter Libby.
Yeah.
Who unmasked an undercover agent.
Yep.
Some 15 years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
And so he unmasked her and put this woman's life in jeopardy, as well as other agents.
Yeah.
And he did it because Comey was the special prosecutor at the time.
Yeah, and we know.
So this is the reason why he pardoned Scooter Libby.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't about the woman. It was about Comey. And so he gave this guy who was a criminal,
Yep.
gave him a pardon.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, that's what you do when you look out for your friends. And when you look out for our friends, you let them drive the Escalade. And speaking of that, this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. You know, Big C, I love my nun friend, my sister Dolores Smith. You know, she followed and gave a lot of prayers and support for Loyola Chicago. And I appreciate the fact that all of us need a nun friend. You ever have a friend, Big C, that never does anything wrong? I appreciate having a nun on my side. It didn't help Loyola win the national championship. But I want to ask you, I know your friends out in LA, the Kardashians, and I think that family's done a lot to help themselves as far as selling whatever a lot of young girls want to believe in, whether we agree with it or not. But a lot of athletes that are tied to that clan, sometimes it seems like it might be a little bit kryptonite, Big C. I'm not blaming the family, but sometimes they say birds of a feather flock together. I know there's some rumblings coming out about somebody having a baby. There's so many of them Kardashians, I don't know which one's having the baby, Big C. But something about one of her friends out having, you know, forgetting where his baby was being born and forgetting that he even had a pregnant wife, Big C. Just your thoughts on some of that Kardashian and how it relates to sports, Big C, your thoughts.
Well, Charlton, when you look at it, they basically covered everything except for baseball and hockey.
Yeah.
I guess there's not enough black guys in baseball, not enough black guys in hockey.
They need to learn the word bienvenido.
They've taken their run at the NFL.
Yeah.
We've known they had a heyday in the NBA. With,
yeah.
You know, we think about Lamar Odom.
Yeah.
You know, lefty out there in Houston, James Harden, and Tristan Thompson, who's been hurt most of the season because his legs were shot.
Yeah.
You know, Reggie Bush never had the same kick as he had in college when he got to the pros. He just didn't have any giddy up left in his tank after hanging around that house too long.
Yeah.
So, you know, here it is, one of the guys who's now in the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, the alleged being out, you know, gallivanting with a friend of hers, and you know, while she's expecting a child. But you know, you look at her history and you look at, you know, the players' history.
Yeah.
Neither one of them are loyal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like next man up.
Yeah.
Next girl up. You know, so why do you expect? You know, it's like with the president.
Yeah.
You elect a reality star.
Yeah.
Who has lived his life with drama.
Yeah.
And without structure.
Yep.
And you're expecting something else all of a sudden. It's like telling a 2-year-old in the house, and there's a bag of cookies sitting on the coffee table.
Yeah.
Don't touch those.
They don't have to be two.
Looking at the cookies, as soon as you're walking away, they got a cookie in their mouth.
Don't just blame 2-year-old, Big C. It happened in my household too. But I gotta go back to my friend, sister, you know, Jean Dolores Smith, and she's been wonderful. She gets around in a wheelchair. Imagine for people who think they're, you know, over the hill when they hit into their 70s and 80s. Well, this young, beautiful woman, she supports their college basketball team. She's out there where all the action is. And she's praying for kids because nobody's perfect except for the ones who say they are. We know they're pretending or they're lying, Big C. But I got to bring this up because it's real sports talk. I hear, you know, one of my sports brethren, former athlete, now has his own talk show in different networks. And, of course, people can Google what we say and Google what anybody says. And this kid was also a quarterback at USC. You know, home of the Trojans, the one with that white horse that runs around the track, Big C, that you guys drugged when they went.
A couple of barbecues down south.
They drugged them when USC played Alabama, and that's why they didn't score too much, Big C. But I got to get on one of my brethren out here for acting like he's holier than thou. And it's one thing to say something about somebody else. When you point the finger at somebody, there's usually 3 pointing back at you. A coach told me that one time, and he was right. But I hear my friend Salisbury, and they had him on different programs, and they were talking about what happened with this Kardashian and this Thompson incident. And like we know, all's fair in love and war. People do what they want to do. However, this good old boy was acting like Tristan's the only one in the history of the universe. to ever have a friend of a friend take care of you. Now, I'm not being flippant when I say this. I've known so many women in life, men and women, who do what they do, and they have a facade in the public. A lot of them in Hollywood, a lot of them in sports. But I know a lot of times, people in that ilk, they're like the good old boy, the weak society. They don't call it cheating, they call it sharing, Big C. And I'm not being flippant. A lot of people have that understanding until they get embarrassed about it publicly, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Sean needs to really look at himself. Now, he used to work for this network to start with an E.
Yeah.
And he was let go because of sexual misconduct allegations.
Oh, you Googled that too?
Well, I didn't have to Google it. I'm very abreast of it.
Yeah.
And so, it's amazing when guys are let go from a job because of sexual misconduct allegations.
Yep.
Now, Tristan's not being let go because of sexual misconduct.
No.
Okay? In his business, it's acceptable.
Yep.
But, here it is. You're harassing some female, or we hope it was a female.
Yep.
While you're at work.
All's fair in love and war.
And your employer felt that was inappropriate and it was time for you to go.
Yeah.
And that as well along as with this alleged drinking problem that you had.
Yep.
So, and it's amazing that, when we look at these things, here it is, he's talking about this alleged incident with Tristan Thompson.
Yeah.
But he didn't bring up this alleged incident with the president who has actually gone out and fathered somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. While his wife was upstairs, he was next door.
Yep.
And so it's amazing. And now you think about it. He was a professional football team owner in the USFL. So when they say politics of sports,
yep.
You have to look at that.
Yeah.
Because he's tied to sports. He's also attacked athletes.
Yep.
Since being president.
Yeah.
So you have to look at that, and you cannot detract him from that. You have to make him part of the equation. So when you're going to sit there and talk about a fellow athlete
yep.
doing something that you got fired for, that's hypocritical.
Yeah, and not only is it hypocritical, I'm a little bit edgy. I told you when I used to visit some of my, Hispanic stores and they say bienvenidos, all I heard was Negro. I didn't hear the bienvenido part because I didn't know Spanish. But I'm getting into this hooked on phonics, so I'm starting to understand. The guy was trying to pay homage to me. He wasn't trying to insult me, Big C, but I learned that after a couple of other words he taught me in Spanish. But I want to go back because as black athletes and black sports anchors, and people on TV and radio, I'm tired of the ignorant one, the sycophants, the sidekick that just acts like he's dumb, and they're just for a prop. And
Sean wasn't acting.
No, but I know, but I understand. That's true. Now, when it comes out and they made this thing about sexual harassment and infidelity, as if he never heard about slavery and how a lot of people got here in the first place, Big C. But he picked on the black athlete. And number one, he went after a guy that wasn't even part of this salacious story. He picked on Tiger Woods without even admitting what he's done himself. And I know a lot of people are brave.
Think about this, Charlton. White society and white media never got on Larry Bird about having a child out of wedlock.
Yep.
And not even owning up to the daughter, the whole time he was in the NBA.
Yep.
She wouldn't even acknowledge him either.
Yeah.
He paid child support, but that was about it.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have anything to do with the girl's life growing up.
Yep.
And Larry Bird is not the only white athlete, Charlton, with the infidelities and have the illegitimate children all over the place.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how white media always points out the black athletes
guys. Yeah.
That has been in this situation, because half the guys that are talking are doing the same thing or have done the same thing.
Same thing.
They've been out there. Charlton, I had as many white teammates as I had black teammates over the years, okay?
Yeah.
They were just as atrocious as the black teammates were as far as infidelity and everything else. When their wife wasn't around, they were on the road. They didn't miss a nightclub. They didn't miss a bar. They didn't miss a strip joint.
No.
And Sean, I played against Sean.
Yeah.
So I know what type of lifestyle Sean led.
And see, that's why
he wanted to be the All-American boy when he was at quarterback.
Yeah.
But when he was in the strip club, he was making it rain like everybody else.
But he didn't talk about that as he was chastising Tristan Thompson. And then, I guess the whipping boy for men who women love to pleasure, they bring up Tiger Woods. Now, I don't care. People pretend that everything is Pollyannish and everybody's like Jesus, and we're all immaculately conceived. I mean, outside of a couple people, Big C, I guess maybe a couple people were immaculately received, Big C, as I read a lot of scripture. But when someone comes out, again, we're about the Google It society. And there are a lot of times when African American men who've been maligned and told to stay in your place, boy, shut up and dribble, boy, you got to know your place, boy. A lot of guys get a job because they're sycophants and they act like they're ignorant. And so that makes people who think you're ignorant feel more comfortable when they know you're not even man enough to challenge them, even if you say Google it. So when I hear people lambasting Tiger Woods about what happened in his relationship, I happen to know a lot of people who have open relationships, Big C. It's not something they necessarily talk about on TV because it goes against this Judeo-Christianity thing that they had, in proselytizing slaves. They beat them to believe in Christianity or they killed them. That's the kind of stuff we're trying to uphold, right? So when a man comes on and he had his own sins, and he's without sin, what they say, cast the first moonshine or cast the first stone. I know it's cast something, Big C, drink your way into a stupor. But when I hear someone, and I'm not a perfect man, but I've enjoyed my life and I still enjoy it as much as humanly possible. But when I hear some of our white brethren, and they get on television or radio, and they know there's more Caucasian people in this country than not, but they will pick one black athlete, and they'll try to make him the whipping boy for all the stuff that they do. Now, if he didn't know what Thompson was doing or what Tiger was doing, how would he know they did it? Unless he heard it from media. And that same media oftentimes is so biased. And so I want to call out everybody to Google. Google him.
Think about this.
Yeah.
Not even Googling. But look, how many white people, white males, have been fired from the media in the past year?
One?
For sexual misconduct allegations. Okay?
Would it be
Think
one?
About that.
Yeah.
With some zeros behind it.
Okay, just making sure.
But think about that. I mean, if we go across the slate, across this country,
yeah,
when we look at all the news and media outlets,
yeah,
even the sports outlets,
yeah,
people have been moved off the television and off the radio,
yeah,
because of that sexual misconduct.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, and people say, well, we're just talking sports, we're not talking politics. Look at the sports stations, and Sean is one of the guys who has lost his job because of sexual misconduct allegations.
Maybe he forgot.
Well, when you're drinking, you never know.
He's like Sessions.
He was hitting a lot of the quarterbacks. Okay?
He's like Sessions.
He don't remember, so maybe Sean don't remember either.
He don't recall. And that's
don't recall.
And that's the thing that I hate with a passion. Because I don't want to be dumb. I mean, I haven't been dumb in a couple of times I do dumb things.
Think about this, Charles.
Yeah.
We've talked in the past week about guys that didn't recall things they did.
Yep.
Ray Lewis.
Yep.
He don't recall what happened during the Super Bowl.
No.
Michael Vick didn't recall. And think about it. Ray Lewis and Michael Vick were doing it in the same city.
Yep.
In Atlanta.
The Dirty
Michael
South.
Vick was killing dogs in Atlanta.
Yep.
Ray Lewis was in the middle of a homicide in Atlanta.
All the alleged things that are out there. And when it comes to equal time, I used to love this guy, this old, intelligent, erudite news anchor. His name was Walter Cronkite. And he had a theme called, his matchup was Just the Facts. And now we call it Google. I was talking to an insurance partner of mine who has insurance all over the country, guaranteed issue, all 50 states. And we were talking about things, and he said, Charlton, you can Google anything. Actuaries know our lifespan, our life expectancy, and so they write insurance policies based on how old you are and based on your life expectancy for your ethnic group and lifestyle, and they will set your premium based on that. So we know we can Google things, but when I hear athletes come on, particularly my Caucasian brethren that I respect enough to say, Google it and check yourself and check me too if I say something wrong. But don't just get on the air and blast a black man for doing what he was doing with his wife when you won't put your own dirty laundry out there and act like you're a paragon of virtue. And they never offer equal time to have someone dispute that. And Big C, if we didn't have Big C Sports Show, people wouldn't even hear the stuff we talk about. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, because we're real. Everybody else wants to ride a wave. When something's going on, they think it's a hot story, so they want to ride it because they don't want to be the one without being a part of that, Charlton. We cover the gamut. We're not stuck on one thing, having to say this athlete is the greatest. You know, you got to follow him and all of that. It's not there. We're going to tell you why athletes are what they are.
Yep.
Good, bad, and indifferent.
Politicians too.
We're not fans. You know, we're explanationists is what we are. We explain to you why you see and hear what you hear.
Yep.
So, you know, when you got guys like Sean, who has led and torn his life as anybody,
you
know, through alleged alcoholism, alleged womanizing, alleged sexual harassment, you know, all of these things.
Yeah.
He's been a part of it. He can't sit there and say, well, hey, I'm crystal clean.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm tarnished.
Yeah.
He is. And that's the thing about it. He needs to say that, as well as when Ray Lewis was on there blasting Colin Kaepernick and Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
He needed to say, bring up his checkered past.
Yeah.
He needed to talk about his infidelities, talking about, you know, he's gotten away from the church, you know, that other players have. Okay, so when you had these 6 children by 4 different women, what pew were you sitting on in the church?
It's called the pew, the sea of hands.
Michael Vick, when you see that saying that society was looking at Colin Kaepernick because he had braided hair.
Yeah.
At what point in your career did you not wear braids? We saw you in college, in Atlanta, and Philadelphia wearing braids, even with the Jets.
Yeah.
So, you know, did that stop your career at any point?
No.
Did killing dogs stop your career at any point?
No.
No, it didn't.
No. And so, going back to one more thing with media, and again, we even fact check ourselves. So I'm not acting like we're paragons of virtue. But when I hear a guy like Sean Sauber, and I love the USC program, so I follow a lot of players who went to USC, and it's you could say endemic across the country. And we hear about the NCAA and the FBI investigations. They're not investigating people for having too much sugar in their Kool-Aid, Big C. They're investigating for impropriety. And a lot of times when you're a star athlete, you get the pat on the back and what they call a blind eye. They turn a blind eye. When I heard the term blind eye, I thought it meant they just looked the other way. I didn't know in the South you guys actually took people's eyeballs out. Is that draconian, Big C?
But you know, you splash some moonshine and all of a sudden that eye goes blind. You know, that little burn and thing takes away the vision for a minute.
Yeah, you guys have a different way of living, but I'm learning to appreciate it more. But again, in reference to anyone in media, even us, we'll say fact check it because we want to keep people honest. Especially what we do. I want the integrity of Big C Sports to be more important than what we say. It's not the messenger, it's the message. So for young black boys that are oftentimes maligned in this Black Lives Matter movement, when I hear a Caucasian brethren that doesn't understand the history of slavery, that doesn't understand the history of the Middle Passage, where black women were raped with impunity by Caucasian men. You can Google that. And when these men get on the radio today, knowing they live the same lifestyle of the guys they want to throw tar on or throw dirt on, and they know that most people live that lifestyle, and the majority of people in this country are Caucasian, and there's no black equal time representation, because even the black men that have opportunity, they're so afraid they're going to lose their job. They say, yo, you know what, you're right, man. I guess Tiger shouldn't have done that. He really shamed himself.
Well, Charlton, I think the most disheartening part when you look at the lighter shade of society, when you're looking at it from a Caucasian's perspective.
Yeah.
We're seeing the kind of money that these Caucasian men have to pay for these extramarital affairs.
Yep.
We can go back to Elliot Spitzer, you know, when he was mayor of New York.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
$1,200 a night to keep the company of a woman.
Yeah.
We've seen Anthony Weiner, you know, lose his Senate seat.
Yeah.
You know, over things like that. We've seen what the president is paid.
Yeah.
Allegedly paid. $150,000 to one, $130,000 to another.
Yeah.
$30,000 to a doorman.
Yeah.
You know, guy just opening the door.
I might get a job as a doorman myself when I think about all the stuff you know about people. They're going to give you $30,000 to shut up. Is that what you said, Big C?
Evidently. So, you know, and we see this history. You know, we've seen a lot of guys get out of situations because they were able to pay their way out of a lawsuit, out of going to court.
Yeah.
And they've generally been Caucasian.
Yep.
And so, but we're not hearing of money transactions with these African Americans.
No.
Whether it's Tiger Woods or anyone lesser than him.
Yep.
We're not hearing about that. We didn't hear about any financial transaction with Tristan Thompson.
Nope.
But you know, everybody wants to beat him up on it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm seeing that being the biggest difference as far as how it's handled in the media.
Yeah.
The guys who are having to pay they're questioning the integrity of the women.
Yeah.
And not the integrity of the man.
Yeah.
You know, they're saying, you know, she can't be that good of a person. You know, this is the only time in society that you'll have white society saying white women are no good.
Yeah.
When a prominent man is accused of being involved with her intimately.
Yep.
The rest of white society saying, well, she's no good.
Yeah.
You know, she's a harlot. You know, she's less than us.
Yeah.
Because why would a rich man want to be with her?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know, maybe because of what she did for a living. He wasn't getting that at home.
You know, that might be the case, and it happens a lot. So for all the black men that are afraid to stand up for yourself, to stand up for your kids, and when somebody's pointing one finger at you, point three back at them. Like we say, Google it. And I just want to make sure that even some of the network stations that will have guys on, and they can slam and slander an African-American male for doing the same stuff they were doing, and they know because they were in the same places, sometimes dating the same women. When I first started working around the NFL and Major League Baseball and NBA basketball, there's a lot of women who don't want to be your wife. Sometimes they don't want to be your wife, Big C.
Shown has probably been more financially beneficial not to be the wife.
Yeah.
If you can get checks in 6 digits from somebody, you know, for a night or a weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the wife's on that type of budget.
Some wives are not, but I have heard some women say, you know, the honest ones, who say, why get away and turn away from the adulation of many men to get married and put up with the criticism of one? And if you look at the First Lady, do you think she's not embarrassed? Remember I told you when I was a little boy, I went to this Hispanic store, and he used to always greet people. He would say bienvenidos, and I thought he was calling me Negro, so I felt offended because I didn't understand the language. And I know the First Lady has to be embarrassed to be standing behind such a pig, but if she, you know, really, maybe she likes it though. People don't know what she likes, the golden shower and all that stuff. We don't know if it's true or not, but his reputation precedes him. And so when that happens, I just hate when I have a white brethren that will put a black man.
Times, you do outside what you do in the house.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You can't always say that it only occurs outside his home.
Yeah.
As you said, we don't know what the lifestyle is at home.
You don't know.
You don't know. You know, you think about the number of wives that he's gone through.
Yeah.
He's had to have found somebody who appreciates that lifestyle.
Yep.
Or accepts it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
That he's going to keep going until he finds that.
Yep. Yep.
And so, and generally he deals with someone who's not from America.
Yep.
You know, as much as he hates the immigrants, he loves them to be in his house.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a fact, too. So whether, and again, we all say all's fair in love and war. People do what they want to do. So this Pollyannish thing, as if we're all dumb. What was that movie back in the day? It was Leave It to Beaver and the Cleaver. Remember, was it June Cleaver I used to watch growing up?
June and Wally.
Yeah, all them good old boys. There were hardly ever any people of color in that. And as a person of color growing up, because I learned about Jim Crow laws, because I was born in Jim Crow. And I, studying Dr. King and Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey and all the people that, and Thurgood Marshall, people that tried to change society and at least make it more egalitarian. When I watched June Cleaver on TV, she didn't look like anybody I knew. What I saw was what the struggle was going through civil rights movement. So society lied to itself to say, well, everything is like the Cleaver household. It's not like the Cleaver household, and we know that. So again, and I'll just touch it one more time, I hate when someone slams someone who looks like me, because if I don't say something, I'm tacitly consenting to it, and I refuse to be a sycophant. If you're going to slam a person, get equal time so somebody can talk about your past, Sean Salisbury. And for a network to get him on and just slander a black man and never have any equal time, and they'll have a Caucasian host saying, yeah, you're right, yeah, you're right. I hate that garbage.
That also with an African-American host, where we had Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp.
Yeah.
Sitting there agreeing with Ray Lewis and Michael Vick on their show.
Yeah.
You know, how much of a sycophant can you be?
Yeah.
How ignorant can you be when you want to sit there and say that you're an advocate for your own people?
Yeah.
And yet you sit there and let your own people slam your own people.
Yeah.
Knowing the checkered past that they both have.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there agreeing with them.
Yeah.
Not challenging them, not saying, well, have you looked at yourself?
Yeah.
Have you looked at the atrocities that you've been involved in?
Yeah.
Have you ever considered yourself less of a person because of what you've done, yet you want to blame this person for something you may not know anything about?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, their history is out there in space. Everybody knows about it, Charles.
Yeah. And
their histories are no secret, but yet they're making allegations about Odell Beckham and allegations about Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, and I know without Big C Sports, you wouldn't hear about it because everybody is told to shut up and stay in your lane, and we refuse to do that. I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. And for every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports, whether you're a pro athlete, a collegiate athlete, your high school player, or your mom and pop soccer league. When you reach out to them, let them know that Big C sent you at 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. So Big C, I just think that for all of the people that love honesty, Google it so you can find out even if we're coming at you real. I want to look at your friend Jerry Jones. You tend to have a lot of white aristocratic friends. You know the Rockefeller started, it was Spelman University and Morehouse. Now, a lot of people say that's a black institution, but it was started with white money. And the reason I bring that up is because I'm asking my white brethren, the business owners, the barons, the Rockefellers, the ones who have that money, who've done good things in the past for a more egalitarian society. That means treat people all the same and fair. I want to bring up the fact that when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, and Jerry Jones has employed a lot of people, primarily African Americans, down in that good old Boyd State, Texas. They do everything big. You never want to get in front of a Texas judge. They may say they're hospitable, but man, you ever sit in front of a Texas judge? I think they've forgotten we're in 2018, and sometimes you can Google what I'm talking about, Texas law. But Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones has told us time and time again, I love you. You're like my son. In fact, you're part of the family. You're fired. Des Bryant looking for work. Makes your thoughts.
Well, Charlton, you knew this was coming, because the cap hit that he was going to take. But, Dez's ego was bigger than his performance in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
You have to understand, stay someplace, keep the money coming.
Yeah.
Don't say, no, I'm not willing to take a pay cut to have my contract restructured.
Yep.
I don't know if Dez understands what's the difference between a pay cut and getting cut.
He knows now.
When you get cut, I don't understand that players don't realize that's the ultimate pay cut.
Yeah.
So when they ask you to restructure your contract, say yes. Because this is the guy who is paying you.
Yep.
The guy who can say, okay, we'll restructure it or we're going to cut you.
Yeah.
And you're talking about, no, I'm not restructuring my contract. He said, okay, I'll restructure it for you. I'll give you
fired.
And Dez is sitting there, what do you mean? He's like, I gave you the option to take less money.
Yeah.
But no, your ego is saying that you're better than what the declining numbers have been with you the past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And so now, since you're saying you're not going to restructure your contract, we're going to give you the option to go out and find a contract elsewhere that you can structure to your liking. Not the next team, if anybody decides to sign. You got to understand, Dez Bryant is not high on any priority list for any team as far as looking for a receiver.
No.
Dez Bryant was not a speed burner when he came out of college at Oklahoma State. He was a functional receiver in the NFL. Tony Romo loved him because he wasn't anybody on the other side of the field, so he threw to him all the time.
And could not throw him. That's when he
could not throw him. That was the thing. Could not throw him. So, he was always having to wait on the ball.
Yeah.
Now you have somebody who can out-throw him. It's different. And so Dez is going to have to wait until after the draft, which is about 12 days away right now.
Yeah.
The NFL draft is about 12 days away. So Dez is going to have to wait till after that, most likely to be signed by a team.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to accept, probably, Charlton, the veteran minimum if he expects to play in the NFL this next upcoming season.
Well, he could always get a job working for POTUS because he's firing people all the time, so there's a lot of openings at the White House. I'm sorry, he doesn't pass that paperback test that POTUS requires. You can Google that too, you good old boys down south. But I think that when you look at Dez, sometimes you do want to stay on maybe too long. And, you ever have guests come over and you welcome them in town for the weekend, and they show up for the weekend, but by day 3, 4, and 5, sometimes they say, "Where's my dinner table? Did you guys forget to set my plate at the dinner table?" Because they don't get the hint. So when Jerry Jones says he bought the Cowboys when he was drunk, but when he's writing checks, he's sober. Big C, that make any difference?
Well, he was totally sober. I don't know if Dez came into the meeting sober today.
Yeah.
Dez has had an outstanding Cowboy career. I mean, a leader in touchdowns and reception yards as a receiver over his career. And you think about the Cowboys that have wore that number 88, Charlton.
Yep.
You could go back to Drew Pearson, wearing that number 88.
Yeah.
You could remember Michael Irvin wearing that number 88, and Dez Bryant. All of them were record-setting receivers for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And everybody's time comes to an end.
Yeah.
And this has happened with Dez.
Yep.
That his career with that organization has come to an end, maybe unceremoniously.
Yeah.
But, it's time to move on, and he has to look and really do a check on himself to say, hey, do I still have the ability to help a team in the NFL?
Yeah.
That's what he has to look at. He has to find a team that's really in need of a receiver.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to go to a team with a veteran coach that can keep him in check. He can't go to one of these young rookie coaches that are in the NFL and thinking he's going to go out there. He's going to need a veteran quarterback with some stability to say, hey, you're going to do things the way I want.
Yeah.
If he expects to play in the NFL again, Charles.
Yeah, you can't always challenge a quarterback too much because it's not good. I remember back in the day, it was Warren Moon, and Chris Carter was challenging Warren Moon when Warren Moon came to the Minnesota Vikings. He won several Grey Cups up in Canada. He was also playing down there with them good old boys in Houston, the Houston Oilers. Took him to the playoffs in the AFC, got him at the crest of it, and had a chance to play at Minnesota also. But there was a time when he told Chris Carter, don't ever embarrass me like that. Don't challenge me. I'll never throw to you again. A lot of times, and I think Chris Carter respected that, Big C, because no one likes it when you're afraid of them. They don't respect you. And he stood up to him, and he said, you're going to respect at least the position. Now, when you start getting on a rookie quarterback, second-year rookie quarterback, that you're not getting the ball enough, well, that quarterback's not used to throwing to somebody who's not open. So sometimes we do stick around a little bit longer than we should. So I'm sure he'll find some place that will hire him, but he's going to get a lot less money. I also want to look out to the West Coast. Al Davis' last first-round draft pick, Sebastian Janikowski, longtime kicker for the Oakland Raiders, one of the more consistent kickers they've had in the history of that franchise. They had another good old boy come on and replaced his job, Big C. Now, he gets the chance to go up to the great Northwest, where the weather's a little bit colder up in Seattle than it is in the Bay Area, even though the climates are somewhat similar. You'd think he helps Seattle. I think he can't be worse than what they had, but it's good to see someone who's been so consistent for so long for one franchise to be let go and then get picked up again without having to sit out of your Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, what do you think about Seattle, Charles? Stephen Hauschka has missed several kicks that have cost the Seahawks some games in the past couple of years.
In the playoffs, too, yeah.
Janikowski has one of the strongest legs still in the NFL. And you think about, here it is, both kickers from the Raiders are gone from last year. Two former All-Pro kickers in King, the punter, who's now with Denver, and Janikowski now with Seattle.
Yeah.
I think this is a tremendous upgrade for Seattle offensively.
So do I.
Because with that offense that they have and the way that they're able to gain field position, when you cross midfield now, he's going to be kicking off of AstroTurf.
Yeah.
You got to realize early in the season in Oakland, he was always kicking off of dirt.
Yeah.
Where the baseball infield was.
For the A's.
And always kicking off of grass.
Yeah.
So now he's going to get half of his games, Charlton, on AstroTurf, which is going to be a huge upgrade for him, when you think about his ability to kick.
Yeah.
And if he has good weather, and, the winds don't swirl up in Seattle, really, the way that stadium is created. So it could be pristine kicking conditions for him. And he's been good from 60 yards on in.
Yeah.
He could be a potential another 6 to 9 points a game for Seattle's offense. That will put them right there with the Rams in the Western Division.
Yeah, I think that's a good pickup by Pete Carroll. I know they had a lot of changes on their team, letting go of some defensive players. Sherman, even though he had that injury, going to San Francisco. So obviously they need someone who can make points for them, because their defense will still be a pretty decent defense. They see maybe not as good as they've been in the past, but they still should be a decent team. I also want to look at some other stories about, another kid that played for the West Coast champions, the Southern California Trojans. And Mark Sanchez suspended 4 games. He had some dirty Kool-Aid, Big C. I think he didn't mix it up enough. You know how if you don't mix up the Kool-Aid, Big C, it has those rough patches. It doesn't dissolve enough. So I guess in his last, sample or whatever he had to sample, they didn't mix it up enough, Big C. It has some lumps in it, Big C. That make any sense?
Well, you think about Mark Sanchez Johnson. This is a quarterback that, who's had more frequent flyer miles than any quarterback in the NFL in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years ago, he was in Denver.
Yeah.
2 years ago, he was in Dallas.
Yeah.
Last year, he was in Chicago. He has just been on the move as a quarterback. But you think about this, and I've always questioned the NFL's timing when you're suspending a guy who doesn't even have a team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Saying that, okay, he's suspended for the first 4 games of next season.
Right.
So why would anybody sign him? At least wait till he gets signed.
Yep.
Before you throw the suspension on him. But while he's out there trying to get a job, and the team said, well, we're going to sign you as a backup, and you're not available until week 5 of the season?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. You're not going to be able to help us in any kind of way if our starting quarterback goes down.
Yeah, and I thought that's unfortunate. And again, whatever players are being suspended for, everybody knows that these guys are doing something so they can make it, okay? I'm sure a lot of guys can put on muscle easily. I remember a good friend of mine back in the day playing college, and he played pro. He tried out for pro and played pro for a couple of years. But he put on about 40 pounds of solid muscle in about 3 months. And I said, my goodness, brother, what are you doing to put on that kind of weight? I want to look like you. And he told me what he was doing. Okay, I'm not going to mention it because a lot of people know whatever happens and stays in the secret until somebody tests you and your Kool-Aid shows up a little bit dirty, Big Z. But it worked for him. It worked for him. And I've even heard some baseball players saying, if I don't do this, I'm going to be looking at a mainstream job making $50,000 a year. Nothing wrong with $50,000 a year. But by doing that, as a baseball player, he makes $20 million a year, Big C. Now, if you think about it, which line would you stand in? The one that pays you $50,000 a year, or you drink some extra Kool-Aid and it pays you $22 million a year? Big C, your thoughts? Is that a hard choice?
When you look at professional athletes, it's a crapshoot.
Yep.
You don't know if you're going to get tested or not. So
No.
you take the chance. If you're marginal and you think it may get you there, I was listening to a saying that Mark McGwire was saying last week that he could have hit 70 home runs without the performance enhancements.
Yep, right.
So you never hit them while you took the stuff. So what makes you think you could hit 70 home runs without the stuff?
Yeah.
So, you think about it. There's been one baseball player that has hit 70 home runs and never positive for any illegal substance.
Yeah.
That's Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
It's much speculation that
he was amazing. No matter what speculation was, Barry Bonds
when
was
I
amazing.
look at the writers who won't vote him into the Hall of Fame,
Yep.
they're not saying that the Major League Baseball drug test is in question, okay?
Yep.
But they're saying that Barry Bonds is in question. So either the Major League Baseball is wrong and Barry Bonds is right, or the whole system's a failure. They need to take the votes out of these writers' hands.
Yeah.
Because Major League Baseball said during his entire career that he was clean.
Yeah.
And yet the sports writers who have no scientific evidence that he wasn't are saying that he wasn't clean, that he was dirty.
Yeah.
So is Major League Baseball lying to cover the exploits of Barry Bonds? Just like you said, will these guys take a chance to make $20 million a year or $50,000 a year without taking the enhancement?
What media person that refuses to acknowledge? Again, this is real talk. Not slandering anybody. Google whatever you see out there. That's where we get a lot of information from. It's just knowledge and Googling things. And when you think about it, everybody in mainstream that says, I can't believe this guy is taking extra Kool-Aid. If you had a chance to go from a $25,000 or $50,000 a year job, knowing that if you make $100,000 a year over 20 years of working, from 25, from 45 to 65, that's $1 million. Guy getting $22 million a year. What person wouldn't take that kind of money? And I know there's a lot of people who are holier than thou. They say they would never do it. But I know a lot of people would do that, Big C. So I'm a proponent of letting people do what they got to do to compete, because people love baseball. It was more exciting when we had Canseco and McGuire and Bonds and Sosa hitting the ball out of the ballpark. People love that, whether it's Stanton doing it right now or anybody else hitting the ball out of the ballpark. I'm not saying they're on any type of Kool-Aid, but people, when you hit the home run, what networks will show the home run time and time again? They don't show a lot of guys that get a single. Big C. Your thoughts?
Charlton, if we look at baseball, we look at football.
Yeah.
Both of these sports have had performance enhancements in them consistently.
Yeah.
I can name a dozen guys off the top of my head right now that are in the NFL Hall of Fame that were substance abusers. Okay? They could not have passed the drug test if they had gave them drug tests.
Yeah.
But they're in the NFL Hall of Fame. They're thought of some of the greatest football players of all time.
Yeah.
Because they're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Even baseball. Baseball is not clean because, in the 70s, everybody worked on these beanies, and those are uppers, okay?
Yeah.
Those are performance enhancers.
Yeah.
Pitchers and hitters all used them. But no one said anything negative. Back in the 30s and 40s in baseball, cocaine was very prevalent.
Yep.
Okay, players use it all the time.
Speed, all that
but
stuff.
They don't keep any of those players out of the Hall of Fame. That was a clean era, because you were using a narcotic.
Yeah.
Okay, an illegal narcotic. So that made baseball clean.
Yeah.
So, when I look at these sports writers, tell the true story.
Yeah.
And they're saying, well, we don't have any proof.
Yeah.
You don't have any proof about Barry Bonds either.
Sure
don't. That you keep him out of the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
You don't go back and take anybody out of any Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Even though you knew they used drugs. When we saw the movie, with the Steelers in it with Dr. Amalo.
Oh, yeah, Concussion,
Concussion.
Yeah. Will Smith.
It was talked about freely about what type of drugs these players use.
Yeah.
It's hard to be in the NFL in the 80s, being a 5'10", 5'11" offensive lineman.
Yeah.
The Steelers had two of them, Terry Long and Mike Webster, and they both died,
prematurely.
Early.
Yeah.
And so, but to be that size playing in the NFL, you think about it.
Yeah.
You're 5'11" and an offensive lineman in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's unnatural.
No, it's not natural.
At that era.
Yep.
And to be having the size and the mobility and the strength to maneuver around these hulking 300-pound offensive linemen.
Yeah.
And so when you think about that, and no one questioned whether they were clean.
Yep.
And that's the thing about nobody had questioned.
Yep.
Mike Webster is the Hall of Fame. Terry Long didn't, but they both died prematurely.
Yeah. And so
and they both had similar, stances of their postmortem life when it was checked.
And just like anybody, and if you really care about athletes, and if we force people to lie to us in this country, we want people to lie and say they're not out there doing the giddy up, and we force people to say they're not doing something to go from $50,000 a year mainstream to $20 million a year as an athlete. If you're a doctor and you go to your doctor for whatever illness you have or whatever feeling you have, do you want your doctor to tell you the truth, or do you want your doctor to lie to you so you feel good? I think most people would say, Doc, tell me the truth so we can find out how to fix what's going on with me, whether it's blood pressure, whether it's diabetes, whatever it is. And I think a lot of people, they want the truth. And like who that good boy Jack said, you can't handle the truth. See, I think people want the truth, and that's what we do on Big C Sports. I do want to bring up, this weekend coming up. I'm so excited about NBA basketball. It truly is, as a young boy growing up in California, watching Showtime, watching the Lakers, watching Magic Johnson, watching Kareem, watching Worthy, watching Scott, watching all these good old boys that wore that purple and gold. And when you drive over the grapevine going from Northern California, the Bay Area, down to L.A., it's all L.A. I know there's Dodgers, and that time they've had the Rams and the Angels, etc. But L.A. is about the Lakers, Big C. I know they're not in the playoffs, but if we can't have the Lakers in the playoffs, I want to look at a team that knocked them off back in the day when Ralph Sampson played for the Houston Rockets. Right now, the Ralph Sampson for the Houston Rockets is James Harden and Chris Paul. And I know Harden averaged about 30 points a game. The Rockets are an amazing team this year. He may or may not be MVP. Me personally, I'm like Russell Westbrook. I wouldn't vote for anybody to be MVP till they hold the trophy at the end of the season, Big C. But your thoughts on Houston, I know they're playing Minnesota. I'll be looking for a sweep. Are you excited about the first round of NBA playoffs? Your thoughts on a team like Houston? Do they turn you on watching NBA playoffs, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, I want to go back to that saying about L.A., Charlton. This is the first time and who can remember that there's no Los Angeles team in the playoffs.
Wow.
You know, you think about that. No Clippers, no Lakers in the NBA playoffs. That's a strange thought to have.
Yeah.
And who would have thought that, you know, with the rise that the Clippers had a couple years ago, the Lakers stayed steady.
Yeah.
But no Los Angeles team in the NBA playoffs. But back to Houston and the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
I see this being a challenge for Houston because they struggled down the stretch. They were not that team that were blowing people out.
They were tired.
I think they can win this series, but I see this series can easily go 6 games, Charlton.
Yeah.
Because you got some younger legs in Minnesota. You know, Wiggins can score.
Yeah.
Towns can score. Jimmy Butler's a proven veteran in the NBA, Charlton.
Yep.
They have some players that can make a stance against Houston. And Tom Thibodeau's a good defensive coach.
Yeah.
They will challenge Houston. They're not going to make it easy. This is going to be a very physical series.
Yep.
I don't think that's what Houston is looking for, a physical series. They just want to run, but I see the Timberwolves doing enough things to slow them down.
Yeah.
To put the pressure on them. You know, and I see them going after Harden, you know, using as many fouls as they can on him.
They should.
Trying to get him off his point, Charles.
Yeah.
If they don't let him shoot in rhythm and don't go for his pump fake and all of that,
yeah.
They just play some defense. If he pump fake, foul him, sit into the line. He'll become frustrated because he's not getting his shots off cleanly.
Yeah, he's known for drawing the foul. I think the officials will be on top of that, especially for this playoff series. And you look at Minnesota, it's a great town other than it being cold up there, Big C. We know Prince did his thing up there with Purple Rain, but they haven't made the playoffs since 2004, and they really had their first playoff game and their final game, you know, when they had to beat Denver just to get in. So congratulations to them. Should be at least a series where they get a game or two out of it. And I know out here on the West Coast, me being out here in the Bay Area, love watching Golden State. I remember back in the day when they had Nelson, and they had them good old boys that were always trying to run.
Run TMC.
And they had Mullen, they had them good old boys that played. Well,
Hardaway and Richmond.
Hardaway and Richmond. And, you know, for people looking at Oracle Arena, and one more season at the Oracle, and then they move across the bay to the Chase Center, where they started here in the Bay Area. But this is a team that's kind of an enigma right now. And they have some Hall of Fame players, but there's something to say. You always say that you can't defeat Father Time. And I'm trying to prove you wrong, Big C, because if I just sleep through it, then I can defeat him, Big C, from what I understand, Big C. But Father Time catches up to everybody. You also told me that story about the bull up on a hill. A young bull said, let's run down there and play with some bulls. And the old bull said, no, let's walk down there like Donald Trump does and have fun with all of us, Big C. I'm still trying to Google that story. Give me some time to find it. But the Warriors, can you say they played too many games? And now they don't have their legs under them, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it does become a point of attrition in anybody's career.
Yeah.
And when you look at the copious amount of games that the Warriors have played over the last 5 years,
yeah,
that catches up with you. And you can see it with a lot of the leg injuries that the players have had, Charlton,
yeah,
in the latter part of the season.
Yeah.
But I think this is a team that can pull itself together, Charlton, for another 28 games and potentially win another championship. They understand that, you know, that this is the run that they build themselves for.
Yeah.
A 28-game season.
Yeah.
You know, everybody talks about the 82 games of the regular season. But a champion builds itself up for a potential 28-game season.
Yeah.
And that's the maximum games you're going to have to play to win an NBA championship. They were very fortunate last year, Charlton. They only had to play 17 games
yeah,
to win that championship.
Yeah.
So they had something left in the tank.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for again. Hopefully that they can get, you know, 20 solid games out and they come out on top.
Yeah.
On those games, Charlton, and get 16 out of that 20 and win another championship.
Well, I know it's great to watch them play. I love seeing the coaching on the sideline when you have the old bull and the young bull on the sideline. The young bull is Steve Kerr. The old bull is Coach Pop. And I'm still trying to Google that story about the old bull and the young bull walking down the hill to do something that I'm still going to go. I might have it for you next week. But will the old bull will he outfox the young bull? Because Pop, 20 years in a row, they have something that people love called legacy. He's a legacy coach. He's not one of those coaches that gets hired and fired after 2 or 3 years. He's a coach that's taken several Hall of Famers from Robinson. And even if you want to say Ginobili, I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. That whole stretch. And he's made them compete. Tim Duncan all the way to Kawhi Leonard. There's something about Pop that knows how to win, like the old bull you told me about. Now, I don't know how much he knows about that old bull story walking down the hill, but the Bay Area does have a lot of hills. Do they have enough in that bag of tricks to pull a fast one on them Gooder boys with the young bull, Coach Big C? Your thoughts?
Charlton, when you get to the playoffs, continuity is what matters more than anything else.
Yeah.
And a lot of people always think about the Warriors as a great offensive team.
Yeah.
But they're just as tenacious on the defensive end when they want to hanker down and play defense.
Yeah.
And you got to understand their offense is what makes their defense, because they run a team into oblivion when their game is on.
Yeah.
They're not sitting there trying to play set-up basketball. They want to move. They want to get the shot off in 11 to 14 seconds, Charlton.
Yep.
And get back and have you come down and try to get a shot up just as quick.
Yeah.
That's what makes great defense, because they come down, knock down a three, it's pressure on you to score now.
Yeah.
So you can keep pace. Not even just score a three, but just to score a two.
Yeah.
So now you're pressing, Charlton.
Yeah.
And if you miss and they come back down and knock down another three, that's almost like game time at that point.
Yeah.
And so they set themselves up against what they felt would be their lesser opponents in the playoffs with their loss at the end of the season, knowing that they would not have to play Utah and Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
They are a team that's set to beat San Antonio. You look at what they did to San Antonio in the playoffs last year, basically the same lineup San Antonio's coming into the playoffs for this year.
Yeah.
Matchup-wise, it's a huge disadvantage for them against Golden State.
Yeah, and I know we have Utah and OKC. Looking forward to that. Portland playing New Orleans. We're looking forward to those games. And, of course, Golden State, San Antonio, Houston, Minnesota. On the Eastern Conference, there's Cleveland and Indiana, Philadelphia, Miami, Milwaukee, and Boston. But I want to close out with your thoughts on my friends. I got a lot of hate mail from my friends up north called Canada. Oh, Canada. They seem to think that Drake can sing the national anthem better than Big C Sports. But I challenge Drake, and I don't want all that extra stuff on the microphone that make him sound good, Big C. But I'm really pulling for, and this doesn't make me anti-American, but I'm pulling for Paul Casey. I'm pulling for the Toronto Raptors to at least get into the Eastern Conference Finals, and I know they're the number one seed. This team has been there before, but they've never gotten over the hump. I just want to get your thoughts. Washington is probably not going to upset them. The team that scares me of anyone in the East is playing Philadelphia. Give me your thoughts as we close out, going into the playoffs. Toronto, can this be their year, or will it be another one of those young bulls walking down the hill instead of running? Mixing your thoughts.
Well, Charlton, this is a team that reminds me of another team in Toronto, the 92-93 Blue Jays.
Yeah.
When they won the World Series. This is a team that's been set up for the long haul. When you look at the competition that's there in the East, I see their true challenge being Philadelphia.
Me too.
I don't know if Cleveland has enough, because Cleveland defensively has been the worst team in the NBA.
Yeah.
It's in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so when you get these high-powered scoring teams that you have to play a series against of 7 games, this is a challenge for Cleveland. We know what LeBron is going to do in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He's going to carry a team.
Yeah.
But is he going to have enough in the rest of those cars that are following him to score enough points, to play good enough defense? That's the true challenge with Cleveland, not the greatness.
Yeah.
But can the team help LeBron out? We know that Toronto has a very balanced offensive attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have 3 solid scorers and some great role players.
Yep.
And that's how you win a division, John.
Yeah. Yep.
And they showed early in the season when they blew Cleveland out, I believe, by 27 points or something like that.
Yeah.
That they can beat this team. They're not intimidated by it.
Well,
Cleveland came back and equaled the score at home, but now you got a 7-game series that you're going to have to play this team, Charlton. Will you be able to withstand the pressure? I do like Toronto. It would be good and a great shakeup for the NBA to see the championship in a series going back and forth between the U.S. and Canada.
That would be fantastic. That means we get to see more Big C, so that might happen. I do want to say Tiffany Kanoma, she's fighting in mixed martial arts up in Oroville, California, Northern California, and she follows Big C Sports, so I wish her nothing but the best, Tiffany, and good luck this weekend fighting Big C. Back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Bundini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you've got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young men, rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, what I'm looking at is the second round, the second game in the NHL playoffs tonight, Charlton. The fight for Golden Pond and Lord Stanley's Cup, Charlton, is off. The NHL does not get enough notoriety here in the U.S.
No.
I mean, you're talking about some of the greatest athletes in the world. You think about it, you got these hulking men that look like NFL linebackers and defensive backs.
Yeah.
Running around with knives strapped to their shoes on ice.
Yeah.
With a stick in their hand.
Yeah.
Chasing a little black piece of rubber.
Yep.
It's an exciting game. And I know most people only get a chance to see the NHL on television.
Yeah.
But to truly appreciate that game, Charlton, you have to go to an NHL arena, and they're great, great fans.
Well, Big C, speaking of great fans, we look forward to a fantabulous weekend with all the sports going on. And speaking of fantabulous, every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide, follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.